Unfortunately, I have some bad news. If we look at this article, Elon Musk has pulled more than 50 Tesla employees into his Twitter takeover. Now, 50 employees, not a big deal. However, this is where it is not exactly what many of us would like to see. Musk has authorized dozens of autopilot software engineers and other Tesla employees to do code reviews and more at the social network. This is going to involve some people that are contributing significantly to full self-driving as an example. Now, in the meantime, Twitter employees say managers instructed them to work 12-hour shifts 7 days a week to hit Musk's aggressive deadlines and that their jobs are at stake, like we would expect. However, let's get into some of those bad news here. Who exactly is going to help with Twitter here? So among the dozens who Elon Musk enlisted specifically from Tesla are Director of Software Development, Director of Autopilot and Tesla Bot Engineering, Senior Director of Software Engineering, a Senior Staff Technical Program Manager, and also someone who is part of Tesla's surveillance team as a Senior Manager of Security Intelligence. So these are not exactly just nobodies. These are people that I would expect to be contributing in a noticeable way to a certain extent and helping Tesla develop full self-driving capabilities and get to full self-driving faster. So what does this mean to Tesla stock? Well, short term, if we take someone like Gordon Johnson, let's say, or any big bear of Tesla stock, they all call full self-driving a scam anyway. So, and Wall Street doesn't really consider that full self-driving is really going to be solved, and they don't really project that into their model. So I would be very surprised if this directly affects Tesla stock price. However, long term, I invest into Tesla stock first because when I project my bear case of Tesla stock to 2030, it does better than S&P 500 in its base case, and that's without full self-driving. However, the reason why I believe Tesla stock will 10x before end of 2030 at least, not financial advice of course, is because of full self-driving. And if we do not have the best people working on full self-driving, and if they are being moved from Tesla to Twitter as an example, especially if it's a permanent change. I don't think it's a permanent change, but if it is, I cannot see how that would speed up the development of full self-driving. However, it's not all bad. There is a silver lining in this story, which I will share with you. This is not the silver lining that I mean, but so far we don't know all the full details. This article from CNBC says it is not immediately clear how Tesla employees are expected to split their schedules between the automaker and Twitter. So it appears that they are not permanently leaving Tesla. That's my first impression. We don't know that much yet, so we should be able to find out more about this in the coming days, and maybe even by the end of today or tomorrow. But right now, first impression is not exactly great, but I certainly expected software engineers to leave, some of them, to leave Tesla and go to Twitter. Maybe I wasn't expecting specifically anyone from Autopilot team, at least not multiple people who are working on AI, specifically on full self-driving. I don't mind anyone being taken away from a Tesla bot because that's just so far ahead. But FSD, that as a Tesla shareholder, I don't want any major key people taken away from that team to Twitter. That I am not for as a Tesla stockholder. And I can't buy any Twitter shares, so if I could, then I wouldn't mind, but I can't. So, one thing though to consider here is that typically when Tesla employees work for other Elon Musk ventures, usually SpaceX or a Boring Company, they can get paid by the other venture as a consultant. Some of Musk's employees have full-time roles at more than one of his businesses. So I hope that every single person that is now also working at Twitter, that worked at Tesla, specifically in autopilot and especially full self-driving. I hope that they will still keep continuing doing all the work that they did at Tesla. Hopefully, that would be the ideal case scenario. For example, Tesla vice president of materials is concurrently a vice president at SpaceX. So this is not exactly, a new thing. So we were expecting this with Twitter as well. It's just I hoped that the only people that would be taken away were people that work on software in general, but not specifically on full self-driving. That's something that's slightly unexpected, perhaps. Now, this point in the article, it says Tesla employees now at Twitter have been involved in code review at the social network, even though their skills from working in autopilot and other Tesla software and hardware do not directly overlap with the languages and systems used to build and maintain the social network. Here's why that's not a problem at all for Twitter. You just need the smartest people. Because maybe the whole architecture of it's built, maybe the whole idea is wrong. First, you just need to figure out how it works, and then you can learn the language if you really need to. I mean, these are some of the smartest people in the world that you are talking about. There's no problem there. I mean, I entered healthcare as an industry with zero previous experience in healthcare, but I have a strong business background. And how come is my business growing faster than basically any other business in the area in that specific field? How? I have zero previous experience in healthcare. How is that possible? That is impossible. Well, you just how someone smart, someone who knows how to think correctly, and then that's why it doesn't matter if you're not familiar with the exact specifics of Twitter, for example. And interestingly, these employees of Twitter that shared this information asked not to be named because they're not authorized to talk to the press about internal matters and feared retaliation. They should be fearful. They really should. Everyone who is not adding value at Twitter is definitely in panic, full panic mode right now. And many of them, I believe, are going to be fired. The threat of dismissal looms if they do not impress. True. So let me share that silver lining that I had in mind. One more thing right before then. Elon Musk dissolves Twitter board and becomes the sole director. That's just temporary. Now, I hope that also all these people will be back at autopilot, or that they will still be working in the same capacity that they did before. That would be an ideal wish, but we'll see. Either way, the silver lining that I personally see in this is that Elon Musk believes that full self-driving is going to be solved 100% for sure. No doubt about it. He reiterated on that very strongly on the last earnings call. And I posted today, the last video that I posted before this one, check that out if you haven't yet. It's a 15-minute drive in San Francisco, no interventions. That one, every single Tesla stock investor has to see. So Tesla has the most data, and I believe personally that if Elon Musk saw any significant issues with taking some of those people away from full self-driving or autopilot or AI, if he saw any significant problems with FSD progress, I don't think he would have done that. He maybe might have taken one person away, but not as many as he did just now. So for me, actually, this sounds incredibly bullish in terms of where FSD is going. But this, I still believe, would slow down full self-driving. But on the other side, this is a bullish indicator for FSD. At least that's one way that you can think about this. But on the other hand, that is perhaps just wishful thinking. So that's not necessarily my position. The main point from this is I don't see how this positively affects progress of FSD. The only thing that I can interpret from this positively is that we are just so close to solving FSD that it doesn't matter if you pull a few people away from it because we're in the lead anyway. So if you're going to solve it just, let's say, a month later or a few months later, or a year later, than compared to the timeline that we would have solved FSD if we didn't take those people away. That's the only thing that I can take away positively. Because, look, FSD is very difficult. Another way, by the way, if I was a Tesla bear, how I would interpret this is, you know what? Elon Musk completely has given up on FSD. He's now taking people away. He has no hope for FSD at all. So that's why he's taking people away. That's what I think Tesla Q is going to say. I don't think I buy that argument. But it's something that you should be aware of. FSD is incredibly hard. One of the competitors, Argo AI, has been dissolved. And this is what ARK Invest has to say. As you know, ARK Invest has been pretty spot on Tesla stock when it comes to funds. They're basically at the very top of who you should follow in terms of Tesla stock. And here's what they say. In our view, autonomous taxis will be a winner takes most market within specific geographies. To their credit, Cruise and Waymo already have launched commercial services, which is true. But scaling that is going to be next to impossible because we have to map out every single inch and centimeter of the cities. And it doesn't work if, for example, it's foggy in San Francisco, and it's foggy a lot of the time in San Francisco. So Tesla could trump all competitors with the billions of miles of real-world driving data that will be crucial to autonomous mobility. The largest casualty to date, Argo, was valued at more than $7 billion 2 years ago. Think about that, $7 billion. A winner takes most markets suggests the high likelihood of more failures to come. I already talked about Waymo, maybe, which is Google. In our view, few companies are likely to create successful autonomous platforms. Of course, I would put Tesla at the very top of that. There are good news as well, of course, as always, with Tesla. The backlog is stabilizing. And as you can see, we still have, the backlog is still bigger than about a year ago. So anyone's saying that Tesla has a demand issue. What was everyone saying around here? Did Tesla have a demand issue with this many orders before? Also, I would consider the most important markets for Tesla to be US and Europe. And if you look at US, it's been always pretty stable. And Europe, we can see that right now it's actually larger than before. The reason why I would say that China is not as important as many would maybe say is, you know, they have a certain kind of way of doing things. And Tesla is the only company that does not have a joint venture. When they built a factory with a local Chinese company. For how long can they enjoy that privilege is a different question here. And that's one thing that, you know, worries long-term, that worries me long-term as a Tesla stock investor. China and US don't exactly get along. So I wouldn't be too surprised if one day something happens between those two countries and then Tesla will have to face some collateral damage. That's not something I'm worried about because then that means that no Chinese competitor can come outside of China, basically. So I think it cancels whatever downside we would have. The upside would, I believe, would cancel the downside. And really, also for full self-driving, my conviction is that competitors will come from China, not from any other place in the world for Tesla. But of course, that's all just a guess. It doesn't mean any of that will happen. And I hope, actually, that it does not happen. I hope that we have a stable world. That would be the ideal case scenario. However, if you just look at the US EV sales, you just look at number 1, number 2, and number 3, and it's so far behind. It's not even a competition at all. At all. And some more good news for Tesla. Hopefully, 4680s will start to ramp quickly. Panasonic is about to start construction of the EV battery plant, which will supply 4680 battery cells to Tesla. However, the new factory will produce Tesla's 2170 lithium-ion batteries. It may eventually manufacture the new 4680 batteries, but Panasonic started with the old battery because of a pressing need for batteries. So hopefully eventually, which we'll see how long that takes, but we know that 4680s will certainly improve Tesla's margins, which is going to be nice for the bottom line, which is going to be nice for Tesla stock. These are 48 reasons why I only own Tesla stock in my stock portfolio. My name is Matt Posius, reporting to you from Vancouver, Canada. Thank you for watching.